Oh, welcome back to another edition of the Lifee podcast. Back up on the scene, nah, I mean. I'm your host, Tony D.
And I'm your host, D to the J, still in the building like I ain't never left, and it feels so good. Bro, and it's still a G thing. How you feeling?
What it is, my boy? Man, how you been, man? It's been a minute.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Hey, it been a
Big
little
facts,
second,
man.
man. It's been a long time, and we shouldn't have left you. But listen, season 6
Yeah.
kicks off tonight, man. We had an awesome break. Um, Bro, we've done some things. There's been some things different. Tell the lifers, man, as we enter it into season 6, what are some changes that they looking at? Like, what's up? Things looking new in the backdrop. Like, what's up?
Yeah, so at the end of last season, we were changing up the logo. So
Mm-hmm.
we got that fresh logo that now
Yeah.
includes the QR code. So,
Yeah.
of course we got it on. So we got it on. But
Yeah.
so if you're wearing your life gear out in public, man, somebody asks, if you like a podcast, what's that? Have them scan the shirt. If you're
Get it
comfortable, let
up.
them get that close to you, cause yeah.
Yeah.
But anywho, so um, man, so on break, if y'all been following us, we've been talking about it, man. We actually got a chance to do the first annual Lifey Awards, man, this past Friday. And one of the recipients we got on the show a little bit later. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna flash a few pictures real quick, man, because we really feel like that, hey, this was huge, man, just to be able to put this together, have these different people all in one room,
Yeah.
just celebrating the moment. So at that moment in time, even though we were from different communities, at that moment we celebrated unity. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Facts.
that was dope.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna let you commentate, man. I'm gonna throw a few pics up here.
Yeah, absolutely. So beautiful squad one, you dealing with our awardees. One of which is our host tonight, but this is just a combination of everything you just said, bro. The unity, diversity, but on this particular night, again, it's one common goal. So we have different organization. We have Cam Rhodes from VOP News. We have Grady, who is partnered up with us. The awesome T-Dubb O. We're going to learn a lot more about him later. Miss Courtney, who's on a different level, and Deb, who has an amazing organization. And of course, those two guys there, I think they look familiar.
Now this picture here actually shows everybody.
Yes, sir, Mr. Eric Wilson. But it
Yes,
was just
sir. Shout out.
it was a great night though. Shout out to him, bro. And I know you're gonna say something. I didn't mean to cut you off.
And I'm used to it. Anyway,
Ah,
no, shout out to the ERG gallery, man, Eric Wilson. Even though he was a recipient, he really didn't know until after we kind of had the place booked. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we really appreciate that. And hey, this is a dope picture right here of us. You know what I'm saying? A little bit of the art in the background. A little bit less of me, about 40 pounds less of me to love now, man. So I'm starting to eat right, think right, do right, so I can live right. You know what I'm saying? So hey, one day at a time. But I'm gonna take 30 seconds, bro. Honestly, uh, this photo means more than just this event. I was overwhelmed Friday, man, because y'all turned the tables and y'all start giving me flowers and stuff, bro. And I was just trying to be solid. Had my wife and my daughter there. Come on now, be a
man.
man, you know. But and then things kind of, went from there. But I want to say from you to you, from the pit of my heart, Brody, like there's nobody else in this world. You know what I'm saying? I know I've told you in private, but I'm also saying this in public. There's nobody else in the world, man, that I feel like the things that we've accomplished as married men, as husbands, you know what I'm saying, as fathers, family oriented, looking after nieces and nephews here and there. I don't really feel like nobody else could have adequately have sometimes rode, other times drove, and sometimes pushed like you have. And really me knowing who you are and your integrity, your honor, and everything about you, that respect factor, bro. I appreciate
Appreciate
because
that.
a lot of times when you have two men, independent minds, independent hearts, independent goals, we've been able to work seamlessly, like separate, because as you're working on this, I'm working on that, or vice versa. It's like everything meets in the middle. So, Brody, everything that you poured the time, um, I can't find the words, bro, because like I say, this wasn't rehearsed. It's just what was needed. The time,
Appreciate
the
it.
talent that you've pushed into, you know what I'm saying, assisting me and being part of this. You know, we are one. Um, hey, I hope that as your endeavors continue to grow, man, so does you and your household incrementally, bro. Like for real, for real.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Much love. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. Yeah, yeah, for
All
sure,
right.
for sure.
So again, man, we got a local vendor for your life gear, your life wear, you know what I'm saying, whatever you want to call it. We love to use small businesses just to get the job done, because we believe small businesses put that food on the table. You know, it's paying them bills, it's sending kids to college, it's putting gas in the car.
True that.
So we do our best. But our website, you're going to see some tweaks now. We have a community action page. Go ahead and tell them a little bit more about that, bro.
Yeah, for sure. So when you go to the website, and of course everything is in the pod below, www.lifebelifeandpodcast.com. So the menu tab, now you have the what's new, and ideally that's just things that has taken place around us, that information that we feel you need to know, whether it is health services and health screening that's coming up in September, whether it was a gentleman, KO, Carvon Owens, who is pushing his book, Don't KO. And we have his book tour on there. And there's just a lot of things, and things from the event, and things from the awardees themselves, and the things that they're doing. But also what's on there, even since then, there is a gallery page. And so the gallery will host more of these pictures that you were showing. It'll have more from that particular night. So again, lifers, we thank you. And it's a way for you to be a part of that journey for all those who couldn't be there. This was an invite only, but as we continue to do what we do, and the support does what it does, we're going to do even more what we do when we does what we do. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing. The website does have those improvements. So take time, click it, take a look around. Links that'll take you all over social media. So it's a one-stop shop.
Hey, don't forget about that non-for-profit. We doing it the right way, y'all. We not going to be sitting out here buying Hondas and slide around the city.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and so ideally, you know, we have done so for the last 2 years, where we've asked for families that were in need when it came time for the holidays, Thanksgiving in particular, to where, you know what, might not be all the trimmings you did, but trying to take care and make certain that everybody can have some type of family time, because that's what that day really represents and what it's about. Last year we had to dig in our own pockets, and that's cool. But like you stated, as being husbands and having to provide and do different things, sometimes that journey can be a little difficult. And so to assist with that, lifers, what we did was we formed an organization, a non-for-profit, and the organization is called Talking Action. The combination of talk and taking, because we're going to start here with the podcast. So we're doing some talking, then we're going to implement things in a place, which is taking, and we're going to get some action. So the non-for-profit is already formed, and we're in the process of the 501c3, that 1023 form. So once that gets checked off, y'all officially be able to contribute and donate, get your tax write-offs, just like that. Bro, 809, man, listen.
Hey.
Hey, I'm trying to jump. I want to jump in like the pool in the summertime, Doc. You know what I'm saying? Feet first. Let's get it. I know we got some new stuff cranking. Turn everything up. Let's get to it.
The views and opinions expressed on the Life Be Life podcast are solely those of the artists, producers, guests, and hosts of the show. Any numbers, stats, or stated resources that are given, we do ask that you verify that information for yourself.
Do you suffer from a big head? 4, 5, 6, 7 head, 4 head, meathead? Well, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, Lifee Life and Podcast. We have that prescription, that Devo Lighty for everybody who's got forehead.
Back up on the scene, nah, I mean.
Madam me, you know a thing already on dream is it? East Kingston, St. Louis. I mean I say yo T-Dubb the board for no so the thing are normal. I mean I say yo Rocky. Keep calm and kill it them outside. Love stack just gone up. Girl I rush me like pop star. But you know we grew rough. And you see how it feels so good. Be a crush ice in a cup. I agree with you, a great mood. But if you're this, you will get crushed.
St. Louis bad man. Or I ride through the city with the 40 like a Sunni out in Baghdad. Politicking cash plans. Wanna see if I can fit a whole 1,008 grams in this man bag. Man, them a small thing in it. Ever shoot a shot, you know I call green in it. Whole squad handle like a ball team in it. My run up on you like a call screen in it. Crush them. I hit him and him. Now your family front row where the man singing hymns. Freddy Krueger in the room and Xanny users. Turn them to a pack, you know I had to do it. Hey, you gon' do it or you ain't. Fake it, you gon' prove it or you can't. Send it over to us, you better move in the tank. Say he the king of what? He confused, ain't it, gang? For real.
Keep calm and kill it them outside. Club stack just gone up. Girl I rush me like pop star. But you know we grew rough. And you see how it feels so good. Be a crush ice in a cup. I agree with you, a great mood. But if you're this, you will get crushed.
It's all about outlasting the illusion. Image yourself, better have resolution. Islander one with your stranded confusion. Made it back, outstanding execution. Welcome me back, family. Mezcal, little ice, nothing that fancy. We don't walk about with steppers that can walk it out after mental collapse. Hope you're not that mad at me. Came for the resources to thrive with. Gotta stay alive, pride's all you can die with. People left and right fighting for their life, and now we're just really pulling up.
Oh, hey, we ain't killing it. We hold it. We holding the second half for a little bit later, bro. Cause I gotta get some ice from my neck, my boy. Over here bobbing. You hear me? Right, man.
All right, that's what we're doing. This? Okay. Hey,
that's what we doing.
Bring him on. He don't even know it. He finna do the remix. and he
let's do it right. Hold on.
Hey,
let's do it right.
Hey, that's what you gonna do? That's how you drop it?
Let's do it right.
That's how you drop it, dog.
So,
okay. All right. Remix. We running the remix.
So okay. Introducing some, presenting to other, man. This young man I've been following for a long time. If you see how long his hair is, it ain't. Yeah, he had starters back then. You know,
right, like,
yeah, I had him telling him matter of fact. So, but as social media became more prevalent in our life, in our everyday life, and now you're starting to see people's everyday actions, people's everyday motives, people's everyday moves put on a bigger stage. I saw something more than just, you know what I'm saying, somebody who rocking the mic. Mm-hmm. I saw a man who's like, yo, I came up in this. I understand that some things need to change. So instead of me talking about the change and moving to Atlanta, because I can have a better career, instead of going to New York, because I can have a better career, instead of moving to the big city in LA, I'm staying right here in ground zero, man, and continue to fight. So presenting some, introducing to others, man, I ain't gonna give his governmental unless he want to, but the man, the artist, the activist, and so much more, Mr. T-Dubb. Oh, man, good evening.
Yes, sir.
What's happening, y'all?
Hey.
Good, man, how you doing?
I'm good. Happy to be on.
Hey, man, I'm excited. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I was in a good mood, right? The beat comes on, the intro, and then the vibe, everything hit, and I was like, I mean, the face was nasty over here. I was like, okay, all right,
Yeah.
all
See,
right.
I got the text when I first listened to it. Did I? Did I not? I got the text. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm like, is this new? It was like, no. I'm like, swear. Yeah, that part, man. So as we jump in feet first tonight, man, let's go ahead and get the hammer, break the ice. Mr.
Yeah.
T-Dubb O. Who are you, man? You know, how do you explain yourself to people? We're gonna start there tonight.
I'm a man that wear many hats, but I think ultimately that has forced me to become a bridge builder in a sense. So, at heart, I'm an artist, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I, I know the popular phrase and the typical phrase is activist. I try to stay away from that terminology because most activists that we see in this industrial complex of the social justice world, they wouldn't be doing this work if they weren't receiving a paycheck. So I more so use the term revolutionary. What we're doing is more revolutionary than anything. Because if I worked for a nonprofit, if I don't work for a nonprofit, I'm gonna do this work regardless because it needs to be done, and I know how
Yeah.
it needs to be done. So I'm an entrepreneur, battle rapper. Um, I'm a lot, man. It just is. I wear a lot of different hats. I try to be whatever I need to be for what I'm needed for. But at heart, I'm an artist and I'm a bridge builder.
Indeed, indeed. Take it away, bro. I know you over there tapping your feet, man. I'm gonna lean back. See, I got me a new mic. I ain't gotta be all up here tonight.
Yeah.
Lean back now. Do your thing.
So look, um I know it's taking a lot, man, for you to get to the point in your life where you say I'm gonna put on all these hats. Um, what did you kind of see growing up, if anything, that really shaped what you do now? Like, was it something you seen that either, took you down one path, even when you straightened up, with our backgrounds, I'll say this. We all come from a different product of life, whether some is street, some is gang life, some is just tripping and wilding out.
For
And then
sure.
we had this groove in life where, we were in church and we're doing this thing. So when you telling the story, I can't just speak to the good in my life. Sometimes I got to speak to the bad so I can show you that good is an option. So all things considered, T, man, like what is it that you've seen, if anything, that kind of said, yeah, I can feel myself becoming this type of person?
I mean, it was just life. And as a young child, I was extremely aware and highly intelligent in regards to my surroundings and things that was going on. And a typical person, when they say, "All right, I'm aware and I'm intelligent," they just going to be able to describe to you the negative aspects of life in St. Louis and predominantly North City, St. Louis, and one of the poorest zip codes in St. Louis, if not the poorest zip code. So they'll tell you, I grew up on a street that was gang and drug infested, and it was violence, and people didn't do good, or the young boys, all they wanted to do was this, and this. Me, I
Mm-hmm.
was a little bit more aware of that because nobody is just 100% terrible. Like nobody on your street, like no matter what's going on, it's not just filled with terrible people. It's a
Very
conditional
true.
thing. And I
Very
started to
true.
realize that it's different in regards to the TV shows that I see on TV in regards to these different episodes, such as like a Boy Meets World or some of the Nickelodeon shows, and how
Yeah.
these kids are growing up, how their neighborhoods look, how they schools are. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Mhm.
going to school and we going through metal detectors in elementary school. So
Yeah.
I'm seeing Corey from Boy Meets World don't got to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey, Arnold, he don't have to do that. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm watching it. You know what I'm saying? I'm my mama, my father's calling from prison. My
Yeah.
mama don't want to talk to him. She don't want me talking to him, but my mother is working 2, 3 part-time jobs just to keep a small roof over our head in a 2-family flat that's a 1 bedroom with a living room that we turned into another bedroom that me and my big sister had to share. So I'm seeing all these variables, not even just the poverty side, but every single thing. And I'm like, okay, how did it get here?
Yeah.
Why is life like this? And as I was able to ask those questions as a kid, it turned into me being able to follow up and do the research. Even as
Yeah.
in elementary school, I would ask teachers certain things in regards to history. You know what I'm saying? Things that didn't make sense to me. For
Yeah.
instance, Christopher Columbus discovering America. Now, I know I got to put that on the test that says Christopher Columbus discovered America in 1492. But even
Yeah.
as a small child in my mind, I'm thinking, how did he discover something that was already
Already
here,
here.
filled with people?
Yeah.
So
I
that
heard
that
that's called breaking and entering.
yeah.
You
So that was just something that I was born with.
know what
And
I'm
of
saying?
course, growing up in St. Louis, everybody's going to experience some form of the streets.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
when I'm dedicated to something, I'm dedicated to something and I'm gonna be
Yeah.
great at it. And unfortunately, when I was in the streets, I was great at
Yeah.
it. So that
So let
life
me
is what
ask you
led me
this.
here.
Let me ask you this, and then bro, I'm gonna turn this thing over because a lot of times, man, and it was something we spoke on Friday, and so lifers, we gonna kind of bring you up to speed and fill you in. And we just talked about everybody has different backgrounds. You know, we come from
For
different
sure.
spaces in life, and so how I deliver something is based on my experiences, how you deliver, how this person, and so on and so forth. So that being the case, man, I don't want to start with the narrative of all the bad stuff because sometimes people can lose sight. I
Right.
want to
Well,
start with all
also,
the things.
well, you,
You know,
also bad is subjective because if it
very
wasn't for
true.
those experiences, I wouldn't be who
You
I
couldn't
am
be
at
this
this
smart.
point. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks.
What made that switch for you, man? Like almost like a Superman and Clark Kent, because we all have things on the day to day that we do. So even from the the rapper T-Dubb O to the husband and the man, how do
For
you
sure.
kind of separate yourself, Superman and Clark Kent? You know what I mean? How do you turn that rapper, that T-Dubb off?
I don't.
Okay.
And that's the beauty of it because it's not a costume, it's just me.
I love
You
that.
know what I'm saying? So when
That's
people feel
exactly
like they
it.
gotta turn a piece of them off or hide a piece of themselves, it's not them or they're ashamed of what that is. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So I had this conversation with my homeboy Accurate all the time, and my real name is Antoine White, and he'd be like, "Bro, right now I'm talking to Antoine, I ain't talking to Dub," and I'd be like, "Bro, that's the same person."
yeah,
And I know what you mean by that. You're not trying to be disrespectful. You just
yeah,
don't understand in regards to me. It's not a costume. It's
yeah,
just being an artist and T-Dub is who I am. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
It's just another name for me, just like God has many names.
yeah.
T-Dub is just another name for me, is who I am.
I like that, and that's exactly how I knew you was gonna answer it, and that really again for our lifers, because some people will see one thing and almost like categorize us with
Right.
all those multiple hats, and we don't put it off, we don't take it off. And I had a conversation with a younger cat 2 weeks ago, and he used the word he didn't want to bait switch or code switch. I'm sorry, he was like, man, I feel like I'm code switching, and I was just like, why you can't be yourself? And I knew where he was going to go based on the industry that we in. And I'm like, yeah, but you still are you. You might at different points in time just release that part of who you are. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna kick jokes all the time, but that don't mean in the moment that I'm not kicking jokes, I'm changing up. It just ain't
Right.
the time to be funny. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
Yeah.
yes, that's absolutely, man,
Yeah.
1000% spot
And
on.
you got to know your crowd. And I
Do that.
think being an artist and a musician and a performer has helped me learn that. Like I know, for instance, when you told that man, why can't you just be who you are? I was speaking at a conference in Cleveland around gun violence. And
Hmm.
I gave a brief mini training to the crowd there in regards to how to reach the most impacted individuals. Because when you have these trainings and these seminars, typically it's filled with people from the social justice realm, older people, clergy. Is nobody from the street. It's nobody there that's really going to go outside and say, you know what, I might have to whack some today. There's nobody in
Hmm.
that room. So how are you reaching and changing anything if you preach and change to the same people that are also preaching change? It makes no sense.
Um,
So I was brought in to give them light in regards to how to build that bridge.
Yeah,
And I was unapologetic in my speech. And this is because, it wasn't a type of situation that had to be censored where we was on the air and somebody gonna receive a fine or anything like that. So
yeah,
I'm 100% unapologetic and 100% accurate in regards to who I am.
yeah,
And there was a young lady there by the name of Maisha Watkins who runs a big organization in Cleveland. She's done some great work in regards to CVI, which is community violence intervention. And at first, she was scared to be who she was. And
mhm,
she asked me, she was like, "How are you so authentic? Even how you talk, like all these church people in there, and you up there, you just speaking plainly, and you using curse words, but everybody hung on to everything you said." And I said, "You can't be afraid to be who you are wherever you are." You know what I'm saying? If you authentic in his work, you know what you're talking about, the experiences there, you able to convey that properly. It don't matter about no profanity. I'm passionate, so that's gonna slip
Right.
out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So she took that and ran with it, and now she's become one of the biggest CBI organizations up in Cleveland. So I think we need a lot more of that, people actually owning who they are and not being afraid to show that.
Indeed.
So
Indeed. So, and that's actually a great spot, man, to lead into our topic tonight of discussion, man. What happened to the black community? I'm a 90s baby. You know what I'm saying? In my 90s, I'm running around. I'm in my teens. I graduated in 95. Um, I seen the neighborhood over there, Central West End, Delmar, Hamilton, being one thing. It was mostly residential homes. Started seeing Wash U creeping,
For sure.
buying up people's houses. Because I stayed on Pershing, a block down from Telena's.
Yeah, my little homie from
So
Persia.
who?
His name Dewan Gross. He part of the Goss family. He don't live over there no more, but he from there. He younger though. He younger.
She might have grew up on the block by Telena's.
Yeah.
But I noticed, man, that a change came about. I went to the military. I had to get about the streets. Let me get up out of St. Louis for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? When I touched back down in 2000, man, I noticed a change. Like that churches on Skinker and Delmar was now run down. The country stores being run out of business. Pete's got signs up because you can only buy so many tall cans at a time. Fred Bennett ran out of business. The little barbecue McDonald's place right there on Goodfellow in Delmar is boarded up. What happened, bro? Like, I was gone for 5 years.
A lot can
And
happen if I
talk to us, man.
yeah.
Tell me what you saw.
so you say you left in 95?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm a very small kid at this point, but like I said, I'm aware. You know what I'm saying? We living on Alice, off Allen Park area, West Florissant and Alice around this time. But my big cousins, they involved in that change that you're speaking of. One of the first change, well, St. Louis has always been a street town. Let's get that clear. Even when it wasn't black gangs or black drug dealers in the 70s with heroin, it was
Mhm.
white. The actual Italian mafia used to run St. Louis. They was blowing each other up on the highway, car bombs. Sonny Liston used to rob people here before he went to New York and became a heavyweight champion. He used to work for the mob, collecting and beating people and robbing people. So
Mhm.
St. Louis has always had this gritty street element to it. It was just part of the culture, and it's not just with black people. But speaking from this time in the early 90s, it's the same war plan and war strategies that's been waged on black people from the beginning of the time. It was just switched up. So a lot of people say slavery stopped with the Emancipation Proclamation. I'm one of those people that have the theory that slavery never really truly stopped. It just was
Changed
null
how
and
it looked.
void on paper.
It just changed. It just changed
Yeah,
how it looked.
yeah,
Yeah.
they just changed the situation
Yeah.
because even after slavery was eradicated, quote unquote, something called the Black Codes was established in the South, which made it illegal for Black people to even do anything but sharecropping. You couldn't read, you couldn't own a gun, you couldn't vote. If you made over a certain amount of money, you couldn't. If you went to jail, they would send you back and say, all right, your life sentence is to be an indentured servant as a sharecropper to your former master. So these are things that were still happening up into the 40s and 50s in some small towns in the South.
Mhm.
So fast forward, let's get to the 90s. Everybody know all the things that we went through, from the
Yeah.
civil rights movement to the Panther Party and how COINTELPRO eradicated that. And then you have something called a Contra conflict that comes into play, which was a war in the South America area. And the government wanted to, the United States government wanted to officially get into that, but they couldn't. So they unofficially helped. And one of the ways that they unofficially helped was by moving one of the largest crops and products from that area, which was
Yep.
cocaine.
Yep.
And of course, we don't want to flood it into our community.
Yep.
So how can we make it cheap enough for poor and black people to purchase it?
Mm.
And that's when you have freebasing.
Yep.
So right around 95, what you started to see was the tail end of the crack epidemic, gang wars popping off, going crazy. And it was strictly due to poverty. It was through the gentrification. It was through the COINTELPRO, miseducation, all these things that have been attacking our people since some of us were brought here and some of us was unfortunately raised in the, because some of us were already here, but some of us was filtered into what we call this United States of America, which is quote unquote a democracy, but it's really a corporation filled with fascists and slave owners. So it's a lot of different things that happen to us. Even sometimes we have become our own worst enemy when you have organizations that's supposed to be standing for the fight, but all they do is profit off of ambulances and black hashtags and the issues that we facing every day. Because if they fix the problems, now they have no more grants for their salary. So nobody's really trying to put themselves out of work. Um, but at the same time, we still got those same problems. So St. Louis
Yeah,
was just hit hard by it. And
yeah,
we was hit hard by it.
absolutely. And that's
Indeed.
just really a lot of stuff that we've talked about even in last season. And that's why I was just like, yeah, he hitting it right on the head of the nail,
Yeah,
because everything that you brought up into that point, and then the furthering. So when I think about what happened to the black community, that was I guess the system or the play. And
yeah,
then now let's change the players. So for me, one of the key elements that happened to the black community was us, right? And I know we've heard it preached 1,000 and a billion ways, but if we're gonna be real, so we watched Good Times growing up. You know what I'm saying? We watched the reruns, and as much as we loved it, we can all collectively sing the theme song now. But we can all agree, hey, that was really a sad show, because it didn't matter what was happening. They never could get out the ghetto. They
right,
always had a plan, always. But do you understand that no matter how bad it got, no matter woulda, coulda, shoulda, because the man was in the house, everything was always all right.
for sure.
Whether it's gang life, nope, dragging them out the gang. It didn't matter what it was. So that's for me, where everything started. It was the devalue of who we are in the household, and it happened in a multitude of ways. So you started off by mentioning everything from Jim Crow and even the black laws, right? So the black laws are going to stipulate things like, to when you go to prison, like T-Dubb is saying, I want you to understand that when you get out, these laws are still applicable, to where that voting can't happen the same, right? Then, of course, we all know, even from the women's standpoint, there was housing that they couldn't get unless they was married, but there was so much emphasis on us, right?
Right.
He mentioned the cocaine into
Well,
we don't have
real,
planes. Go ahead.
real
Yep.
quick about the welfare aspect, and
Yep.
I hate this because of course black people are the face of it, but what
Yep.
people don't understand is there's way more white women on welfare than there's black women.
Very
And
true.
also, it was created for white women under when FDR was president, under the New Deal after the Great Depression, when all their husbands was killing themselves for losing their money in the stock market or living in the Hoovervilles down in the boxes. And FDR came in with the New Deal. Welfare was part of that, so it was actually created for white women, and there's more white people on welfare than black people. So I
Mhm.
just had to put the segue and put
Yeah.
that out there
No,
real
no,
quick.
absolutely. And even with a lot of those other programs that were created under them same administrations, and everything was really everything from the projects to, if you could take us out, the nucleus out of the home, everything would therefore begin to change. And then you implement some of the programs that he just mentioned. And so now the value of a man has been reduced to monetary. You know, do you want the man in the household, or do you want me to hit you off with $1,000 in food stamps? Man in the household, or free health care, dental? So then the value again on us becomes just monetary from society standpoint. What can you do for me? I need a man that can do this and do this. Why? Because the monetary value is what was established to say who is and who ain't a man. In my estimation, that's where that whole thing starts, getting us out the crib and then replacing us with a dollar
No,
bill from the government.
that's accurate. That's actually a for sure accurate variable to it. You know what I'm saying? And a percentage of some of the things, because I know some families who had both parents in the household, and everybody treacherous. You know what I'm saying? The father
Exactly.
taught the kid how to gang bang.
Exactly.
You know, the mother taught them how to
Even when the
gang.
daddy didn't,
Yeah, the
even
mother.
when it
So
didn't, they still turned out
yes.
wrong.
So that's definitely a variable in certain
Yeah.
aspects, you know what I'm saying? And that's unfortunate. And I think even if welfare didn't have a play in it, that type of that type of person who place monetary value on a partner, that would be that person regardless whether
Yeah.
they needed welfare or they was well off.
Yep.
That's just, them type of people. Because I know women who
Yeah.
struggled with their partner through and through. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And so I think it's based off the person in a different situation, but that's definitely one of the variables as well. Um, but ultimately, it goes back to those root causes. You know what I'm saying? White supremacy, systemic oppression. And some of us can see the light and make the change. And you get that one or two individuals to say, you know what, I'm not going to be involved in this and I'm going to go do something different. Um, Unfortunately, majority of the time, what you see is, and you can ask anybody in the streets, once a person starts saying, you know what, I'm going to change my life and I'm going to get out the streets, 9 times out of 10, they ain't going to be with us too much longer.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen it over and over again. Somebody said they're gonna change their life, and then ironically something happened to them, or that's when
Yeah.
they get sent to prison, or they want to change their life. Kid genius in the neighborhood, and unfortunately, again, we got a system in St. Louis. '95. That was right around the time that they lost accreditation in the St. Louis school system. 30
Very true.
years of unaccreditation. So that means you had 30 years of children that had been miseducated well below state standard, which is already below national standard, which is already below the world standard. And we know from the numbers, 9 times out of 10, if a kid is illiterate, what are they going to become?
A thief, a criminal,
Or whatever.
or
You know what
worse.
I'm saying? They're gonna get to it
Yeah.
however they
Yes.
can because it's
Yes.
human nature to survive.
Right.
And one thing that has
Man.
been proven is that majority of the crimes that happen in the Black community are poverty driven. It's
Absolutely.
rare. It's rare that somebody wake up one day and say, you know what, I'm finna kill somebody today just because I want to. That ain't our
Right.
side
Yeah.
of the fight. Not saying it don't happen, but it's
But it's
extremely
rare.
rare.
It's
Most
rare.
most of the crime and even access to crime and inspiration to participate in crime is strictly poverty driven.
Because if
Yeah.
everybody had money, nobody's going to rob somebody that has what they have. And,
Exactly.
and like you said, literacy is the main thing. And we talked about this last year, and that's almost to the direction of the non-for-profit. And when they go to the website, that's one of the things it speaks to. Literacy itself. If we can speak to the literacy program in St. Louis, that will empower these kids to do better in school. Most of these kids that y'all think is tripping, I want y'all lifers to understand, they just probably are struggling reading, and they have found the life skill that says, I can either sit here and be embarrassed and get joned on, clowned when they find out I can't read, or I can disrupt the classroom, tell Miss So-and-so she's stupid, I'm going to get kicked out the class, they going to think, he crazy, and I can live to see another day. Most of your kids ain't bad. They just struggling with their literacy and schoolwork. Change
And,
that.
and
It's perfect.
and nowadays you got to teach because we big into the school system. Like my wife is
Yeah.
president of been the president of the elementary school PTA. She's the president of the junior high. I've been the vice president. I'm a volunteer coach that took
Good
us to the
deal.
championship 2 years in a row. Like, so we heavily outside of the social justice working of non-for-profit, like the work that we do within our own communities and our family communities is directly with children. So we also assist the teachers and the school board. So we've seen the change in regards to how you used to have them teachers that really
Yeah.
cared. Now folks just doing a job. You know what I'm saying? They do the
Yeah.
bare
Yeah.
minimum. There's something called learning styles. And just because you have this curriculum doesn't mean that, all right, I'm going to give you this piece of paper or this tablet that they're using now, or whatever you're using, and I'm going to write this and I need you to learn this. People think and learn differently. You know what I'm saying? Some of
Right.
them are visual learners. Some of them learn by hearing it. Some of them learn by doing it. Some of them learn by all of those things combined. And you no longer have those teachers that will take the time to identify the different learning styles of the people in the classroom because one, they underpaid, and two, you just got people that's not as invested into changing lives anymore. They just want to
Yeah.
collect their check.
And
So another
ask
great
your question, bro. But also, when you get done, I want to hear how can they contribute to his non-for-profit while he's at that point. Now, how can they donate and get funds so that you guys can continue to do what you're doing?
Sure, man. Just
oh
hit Hands
so
Up United on Facebook and Instagram, and we'll let you know about the programs and how you can contribute to help us. You know what I'm saying? Keep everything rolling. So
Yeah, my bad,
good
bro. Go
deal.
ahead.
So while you were right there, as you're in the community helping kids, man, of course I see a lot of things on Facebook. I choose to protect my peace on what I respond to.
absolutely.
but it makes me sometimes be nosy and see who this person is. So of course, real STL news is a nice hot spot where people be trying to get their comments off and then go block the page and run and hide.
Yep.
And I'm gonna keep it a buck today, man, because we rapping about it. So whenever we try to pose and talk about justice in our communities, the adequate training of the people who are grocery store dollars, are gas tax dollars, are what I'm saying, our everyday living dollars go to, or steady, frustrated at home or whatever the case may be, and taking us out. The number one argument is, oh, maybe black people shouldn't do crimes. Oh, well, you guys kill each other more than anybody else does. So let's rap about that real quick, man, because I hear it, I understand it, and I feel like that as we as people learn how to communicate, like you said, people who can't read, bro, they're less likely to communicate because they feel like that they can't articulate, to that degree. Now they implode. Bro, T-Dubb, talk to us about that, man. Like, how do you fight that argument and how do you move forward?
Let's kill this narrative right now. There's no such thing as black on black crime. Because if you would talk about that, then you have to categorize everything according to race in regards to crime. You have to talk on white crime. You have to talk about Asian on Asian crime, Latino on Latino crime. Look, white people kill each other too. If you a person that decide to commit crime, 9 times out of 10, that crime is going to be committed to the neighborhoods that you have access to. And if you live in a black community and you happen to be black and you happen to commit a crime, it's crime. Same thing with a white person. You know what I'm saying? So let's eradicate that narrative. Also, let's talk about the police situation. People say, all right, police are so aggressive with black people because they're so violent. White people have put a hole in the ozone, eradicated millions of people around the world, entire countries. The Native American race is almost obsolete due to European colonialism. Africa, they speak in French in Africa. Belgium had a stronghold on countries. Italy had a stronghold on countries. So if we're going to talk about a race that's violent, then let's look at the numbers versus your subjective view. Let's talk numbers. That you can't argue with logic and fact. Who has killed more people? Now let's get to the police aspect. It's proven facts according to numbers. Facts. The most dangerous person to a police officer is a white man. They kill more police officers every year than any other race. They assault more police officers every year than any other race. And guess what? They're the lowest percentage of people to be actually arrested and charged or convicted of a crime. They also serve the smallest sentences when they are convicted. Outside of black men, the second highest race of people that actually get shot by police officers is white women. So the fact that people don't even understand these numbers and they just tell you whatever the news and the media tell you. Oh, black people get shit because they're violent or they're criminal or they're armed. Everybody's armed. 9 times out of 10, that's just a narrative they paint when they shoot an innocent black person. Oh, he was armed. We saw it with Von Myers. He was armed. He shot him in the back and then executed him. And him being armed was a sandwich that he had just got out of the store. So again, if you're going to be aggressive with somebody and you feel like you're in danger, numbers show that the person that you should be aggressive with and feel like you're in danger from is a white man. That's proven. So that can be dispelled. And now people need to understand that the only reason that police officers are murdering black people with immunity is because of a system of racism. Even the black officers that participate in this, even the Latino officers that participate in this, even the Asian officers that participate in this, you are trained to hate black people. You're trained to attack black people. You're trained to oppress black people. And the minute you put on that badge, Your number one enemy is a black person, primarily a black man. And you know from proven facts that if you shoot this man, that 9 times out of 10 you can walk away scot-free and probably make $1 million with the police union as they fundraise for you to cover your legal fees and your money while you're on vacation.
So
Proof.
quick question. So what do we do? What do we do in regards to that? Because we all know what the obstacle is.
For
How do
sure.
we get over this hurdle? So, one thing that was said to me within the last 30 days, it was a cat from the Latino community. We was kind of chopping it up and building. And he says, one thing I don't understand about the black community is, and this is his words, he was just like, they kill themselves. And we had a similar conversation to what kind of wrapped up, but and I've seen violence in every community, and understanding it doesn't matter where it comes from. How do we stop that plug in our community?
What kind of Latino was this person? Was he Mexican? Was he Chilean? Was he Venezuelan?
Guatemalan. Mm-hmm.
Ask him how many people did he grow up in Guatemala?
He was a younger cat, so I think he said he got here to the States like 13, 14. It was somewhere really young.
So ask him how many heads he's seen chopped off in Guatemala.
True. And that's why I said we went back just like, so hey, everybody
the world is trained to think black people are the worst. It's not racism. It's not just in America. I've seen it when we went to Mexico. It's worldwide. In Mexico, they treat the dark-skinned Mexicans different than they treat the lighter Mexicans. Like racism is an international thing because darker skin has been deemed evil and below humanity. That is the problem. So especially when you got, I'm not entertaining nobody from Guatemala or Venezuela or somewhere that I know that people getting their noodles knocked out every day. They raping women. You're not even allowed to, you can't walk down your street comfortably. You know what I'm saying? Like it's certain places in some of these places where you can get soda before you can get water. So you can't come and address the issues that's going on in my community, bringing that type of light to it, and you come from the same thing. That's why you're coming to America, because they getting their heads chopped off. The cartel that runs the communities. When we was in Guerrero, Mexico, is because 43 students was kidnapped by the cartel and okayed by the government, and they killed them all in the pit. Never found none of the bodies.
Wow.
That's why we were in Guerrero, Mexico. Protesting in regards to that, fighting for that. So
what is not the answer, but a step in that direction? Where do we start?
You gotta eradicate white supremacy. That's the answer. Now, steps in regards to that, laws don't change the hearts of men.
Right.
We had so many laws in regards to racism and civil rights, and we still dealing with racism. Laws don't change the hearts of men. So the best way to do that,
20 years ago,
you control the narrative. But who runs the media? Even now, our culture that has been gentrified, another weapon that you saw at the Delmore Divide, they've gentrified hip hop, and now they determine what's shipped out there to the masses and how that represents us. So the representation that America bestows on Black people is the reason that people think the way that they think about Black people. So this is how we change the narrative. The fast way, eradicate white supremacy, blow some up, full-fledged revolution, war. That's the fast way. The slow way to save lives and do it properly, platforms like this that tell the truth. When we do get somebody in the light that has 100 million followers, platinum selling artists, diamond selling artists, they have to tell the truth. They also got to come back to their communities and do what they should. A lot of them say, well, I don't owe this. Yes, you do. You made it from here. You owe it. Because what happens when Asians came to America? They reached back and they said, hey, I'd established this store over here. We got this neighborhood. Now y'all come over here. They reach back. That's the biggest issue with the Black community. It's the lack of reach back because people feel like they don't owe it. You owe it. We saw it with the tornado. Primarily Sexy Red. Her response went viral. And people was like, she don't owe anything. Yes, you do. You scream Northside on every single song. On every single song. These little chicks love you. The North Side was ruined by a tornado, and I have
Yeah.
yet to see anything you've done. Do you owe it?
Mhm.
Technically, nah, but you do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I agree with that, bro.
yeah, so I know we're getting close. We may go a couple over. Again, this is the season, you know what I'm saying, intro. Doug, we were having a conversation behind the scenes, man, before the show began. And if you want to talk about it, you can. If not, you don't have to. But again, leading back to the topic, what happened to the black community? See, I remember in the 90s, when um who was it? Slay was in, uh, Clay was in, and I'm talking about the
Yeah.
father of. Shamer was the mayor, I remember them days, man. I used to go downtown every weekend, Union Station, the center. And again, when I came back, everything was gone. So we know there's somebody okaying these changes, man. So, if you want to talk about it, do so. If not, you know what I'm saying? Where do we go from
Uh,
here?
One, I mean, St. Louis just had a history of bad leadership. We had a go at it. Like St. Louis used to be the biggest city in the Midwest. At a certain point, there was almost 1 million people in the city of St. Louis, not including the surrounding counties and smaller municipalities. But in the city of St. Louis, it was almost 900,000 people. But you started to see the decline. And it wasn't just due to crime and gangs and drugs. It wasn't just due to that. It was due to corporations leaving. People got to go get another job here. It was due to the miseducation, bad schooling. A lot of parents say, you know what, I'm gonna move out here because this school is terrible and the school board is stealing money. And so some people left because St. Louis has always had a very violent police department. I'm not living over here like, so it's not just the issues that we deal with in the community. It's a lot of systemic issues that force people to say, you know what, I'm out of here. And we've had a bad string of luck in regards to the leaders that we've chosen. I call St. Louis Tammany Hall Jr. You know what I'm saying? The family career politicians that, and it ain't just the white ones. You know what I'm saying? It was the family of aldermen that was caught, some years back that was using dead people to vote. So it's a lot in regards to the terrible systems here. And then you got people that say, well, black people don't vote, which is sometimes we don't, sometimes we do. But definition of insanity, and I hate to be so cliche saying this, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Now, I understand voting from a different light, and it's because I gave my own analysis in regards to it. So voting is presented to the masses of Black people. You're going to have a small percentage to say, hey, my ancestors died for this right. It is one of the only ways to make systemic change. I'm going to participate. They also ignore the fact that these same politicians are being bred within the system that have no vision, no strategy in regards to actually eradicating Black oppression. So if you're in there and you're saying, well, I'm just gonna play the game and I'm gonna do this and that, and you're looking for political ascension. Again, nobody want to put themselves out of work. The same thing with the nonprofit side. I get it. So people, you're voting, but you're choosing the lesser of two evil. Still poison, whether it kills you slow or whether it kills you on the spot. Then you have majority of registered voters in St. Louis that don't participate in elections at all. They're registered to vote. They don't participate at all. And people ask, why is that? And it's simply because they have that view that no matter who is in office, my hood gonna be like this.
Mm.
And one of the most detrimental things to the voting system, and people would not say this, but these children that are growing up now, these 2000s babies, these late 90s babies, they were growing up when who do we have as president?
Obama.
Barack Obama. And when they
Mhm.
saw that they hood was no different, they were still getting shot at, got to run in the house. Their mama still poor, working all these different back-ended part-time jobs. School system is terrible. They still being bullied. They still can't accomplish anything. You tell them they can be whatever they want to be, and they may not even be alive by the time they're 14 or free by the time that they're 14. So that
Wow.
put a damper on things. Those kids that are growing up now that are old enough to vote are saying we had a Black president that did nothing for us. So how I approach this and how I'm able to get people to have some level of political buy-in is teach them that it's an actual weapon. It's not the end all be all. This is not the ticket to your liberation, but it's a weapon. Let me talk to you about the streets in regards to it. You got these judges and these prosecutors that are downtown, and they're overly racist, extremely oppressive. I've been in the courtroom fighting to get people out on charges that they should have a bail for, that they're restraining bail for, which is non-constitutional. So when you start talking to the streets on levels that they care about and they can comprehend of things that affect them every day, not you should vote just because your ancestors died for it. My big cousin also died for this neighborhood. So should us have more dedication to voting or more dedication to my block that my family has lived in and they have died and bled here too? Just because somebody died for it don't mean
It's right. It's right. Yeah.
Don't mean it's valid.
Yeah.
So you have to make it reach them on the level that they are. You remember that judge that sent little homie that way when that you know what I'm saying, he could have got bonded out. We could have got the bail money while he was out in time, and he probably could have beat that case. Instead, he took the plea because we couldn't get the bond situation, was just bad. Or he overturned the prosecution decision because the prosecutors were seeking a 3 to 5. The judge got a chip on his shoulder. He overturned that and gave him 10. So it's so many different situations that you could bring it to that. And once they start understanding that, so wait, you mean to tell me judges are elected? Yeah. So I can vote for the judges? Yeah. Them sheriffs that be down there tweaking, I can vote for yeah. Your altar person is the reason your potholes can't get fixed. Man, I done blew like 6 tires over here in the last year, man. Why don't they come fix this? You talk to the alderman? Nah, let's talk to him. Man, I don't like dude. Let's get him out of here then. You can do that? Yeah. So you got to be able to reach people where they are and explain it in a light to where they can fully understand it and how it actually affects them, not the overall picture, because the average person only care about the problems that they have right in that moment. Once you do that and it's coming from somebody that's valid, somebody that can explain that in a way to reach them in a way that's not going to judge them for doing whatever they're doing, you can get people to the polls. I've done it. The problem is we not the organization that get the $1 million to do it. They sit around and just throw a brunch every year and talk to the same people. You know what I'm saying? Like we have been listed as America's new Black radical organization. So a different level of attacks and harassment and things that you got to deal with in regards to threats come from that. You know what I'm saying? After Ferguson. So grants and things of that nature is not something that we normally get. Our support comes from the community and out of our own pockets, and we just do what we need to do. You know what I'm saying? So it's ways to overcome these different situations that's affecting us. And some long-term strategies that have worked not only in this city before, but also other cities. We just got to do it. And the wrong leadership got to get out the way.
Yeah. Bro, what you got, man?
No, man, and just piggyback on that, being smart with how we do things, because now if we rewind time, let's say 5 years ago, and you're starting a business, minority owned, woman owned, you name it, Black owned, it was almost like a banner, a badge of honor. And from a government perspective, from a business owner's perspective, the government had more incentives for you. Now, with the new leadership, that same banner that was recognized as a badge of honor is a target on your back. And so anything that's in your Google SEO or anything of that sort that speaks to diversity, inclusion, Black owned, minority, woman based, those type of things. And so now what we see, and it blew my mind from the standpoint, this ain't just out in no man's land. Right here in St. Louis, man, we had spots get hit that was like, yo, ISIS, where?
Yeah.
They got it lined up on what?
Yeah.
So being mindful of the banners, and this is, and we gonna have to really find some time to spin this back in some manner, shape, or form, because now you're getting into the category, how can I be proud of who I am when I try to emphasize who I am is going to give me them direct shots that's going to be set to hold me back. Jamestown Mall, all that rubble that was destroyed it's cleared out, it's spotless, it's boneless. You understand? It's empty. That was a Black woman owned Black construction squad that did everything, right? And all that money they are set to get. But what happens is the laborers and the unions have chose to block the funds. So in that standpoint, now the workers are going to up and leave because we can't go 5-6 months without getting paid. Right. We know you have a lawsuit. So now you end up stalling somebody out. And so this business that was set to thrive because they took on a job that was a minimum of a meal plus. Now you can't even continue because you don't have the workers to go forward. So
it's the answer to that too, real quick. Yep. So a couple years ago, I was organizing something with this organization called We Power, and it's a Black organization that strictly focuses on economic empowerment. And you barely hear that in the Black community. With the Black organizations, is typically we focused on predatory policing, criminal justice reform, something of that nature, violence. You don't hear, I'm gonna start a organization and teach Black people how to get to the money. So I was super passionate in regards to that work, and we had one specific goal what I came to help them out with for. You ever heard of something called a CBA?
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, a CBA is a community benefits agreement. That means anytime there's a large construction, whether like for instance the soccer stadium when it got built downtown, there's a set of rules that company has to abide by. Before they're allowed to even build, or if they want any type of support from the city financially or the state financially. So we were trying to create an actual CBA ordinance for the city of St. Louis and as well as St. Clair County. So the ordinance was going to mean that this is law. You don't have to redo a CBA every time it's a different construction job. This is the set standard law. We've seen them in Nashville. You've seen them in other cities up in Michigan. And it's extremely beneficial because when you have that situation, like you got these Black women that get this job, one, or you know what, Black women gonna do great thing as far as what Black women gonna do. So I'm not gonna use them in this example. A white-owned organization come in here, like we saw with the soccer stadium, build a soccer stadium. One majority, 9 times out of 10, the workers that they're gonna hire not gonna be from the neighborhood. They're not gonna be Black. They're not gonna bring in any other resources besides building this big thing or whatever. So with a CBA, you can say, hey, 61% of your workers have to be of the community and resonate the population. So if this is a primarily Black situation, Black city, what's half and half, whatever it is, half of those workers have to be Black. Also, in order to get this support and these tax rebates and this government money to assist you, not only do we want you just to build this big, pretty soccer stadium, around it, you have to build this amount of affordable housing. We also need a green space here. So it's different things that you can implement into that CBA ordinance that these big companies would have to abide by before they even able to come in and do anything.
You know what they did to it, Doug? You know what they did? They cut the water off to the faucet in the kitchen. What I mean by that is all of those things were agreed upon. It wasn't a 61%, it was 100%. She was able to bring everything was in place. Now it's time to reconcile them funds, not the money that dripped them along to get it done. Now it's done.
Not a paper.
To divvy up. And so what they did is just cut off the water long enough. They're going to end up paying them right before we get to court. But if I stall you out long enough, folks will leave that kitchen water faucet, start looking for other sources. And that's what they're doing. I'm gonna pay you, but I'm gonna destroy your company before I do.
Right.
To keep folks from having to abide by the rules that Dub just got done explaining.
Yeah. So having them ordinances in place versus the agreement, because the agreement ain't nothing but a contract. We can take that up in litigation for years, and I don't have to follow nothing. But once it's law, you got to follow that.
Okay.
You got to follow that. So sometimes, man, we gotta beat them at their own game. We gotta play their rules.
Indeed. Look, we've had you, man. You've dropped some knowledge. You dropped gems. Tell everybody where to find you and talk a little bit more about that music at the intersection, man, on your way out tonight.
Oh, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
So if you look up T-Dubb O on anything, it's TDUBBO, whether it's Instagram, X, Facebook, TikTok, even though I'm not a big TikToker, I post her in there not much. Apple Music, Spotify, whatever you Google, you're gonna see it. As far as the music at the intersection, so I was blessed to be the first hip hop artist to receive a Kransberg Arts residency. For those who don't know who Kransberg Art Foundation is one of the largest art foundations in the country. They're from St. Louis, based in St.
Hmm.
Louis. They typically do these residencies with like visual artists, painters, dancers, jazz musicians, stuff like that. They never gave a hip hop artist that opportunity. They wanted to bring hip hop into the forefront because hip hop is probably the primary and most dominant genre in regards to St. Louis. And then when you're talking about hip hop in this city and really the true essence of it and everything that it stands for, somebody to deserve it, somebody that it had to be me. So they reached out. We got the residency done, and of course, that came with being one of the performers at Music at the Intersection, which is also one of the largest music festivals in the country.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so,
He on
man,
there. He on there with some folks, and it's dope because when you think about as an artist out of St. Louis, people will try to they know a few names,
For sure,
but what you doing is bigger than just music, and that's why I really wanted to take that time and let you touch on other things because the music is just one aspect.
for sure,
sir,
It's who you are, but it's not just who you are. If that makes sense to everybody out there watching us.
indeed.
And he on there with some man. I don't know if you could say folks' names, but
yeah,
they
yeah.
need to
It's
they
crazy,
need to
man.
know who you stomping with. T-Dubb.
It's Common and Pete Rock, Patti LaBelle, De La Soul, Lucky Day. Man, it's crazy. It got
Yeah,
the homeboy Ryan Trey, who from this region,
yeah,
who Bryson Tiller artist, he on there going crazy. Um, who else? It's a bunch of people. It's a lot of it's a 3 day
Yeah.
festival, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I'm rocking out Saturday.
yeah.
It's amazing. Last year I was a special guest on Tough Poet's set. You know what I'm saying? He brought me out. He wanted me to, what I'm saying, get up there and do my thing. And that was Big Boy from Outkast, Shaka Khan. So
Mm-hmm.
it's always an insane lineup. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This year I'm just blessed to be one of the few MCs that are actually on there, and I happen to be from the crib.
That's what it do,
So,
man. That's
but
what it do.
Dub, man, we see the kid hovering, so we all know what time that means. So
Yeah, man.
we
I got.
appreciate it.
We normally eat a little earlier. I'm cooking turkey legs today, though. I got some turkey legs in the oven, so I'm about to
Yeah,
take them out.
Yeah, man. Hey, well, this ain't gonna be the last time, man. We
yeah,
gonna
for sure.
definitely have you back, man, and scan through that crowd for them Life Be Life and shirts and music at the intersection because you just may
Absolutely.
see some bald heads with up in that joint.
For sure.
Hey,
Yeah.
appreciate you,
Appreciate
man.
it.
Salute.
Yeah, hey, and
Anytime, man.
keep an eye on your inbox, man, for that verse I'm gonna shoot you.
I got you. For the remix, I got you.
Man, he think I'll play, bro. Tell him he think I'll play. Hey, it was like that, man. Much respect. Pleasure to meet you the other day, man. Appreciate you
Indeed.
taking the time to rock with us tonight, and throw your infinite knowledge, man, in the mix. So much appreciated.
So
For sure. I
awesome.
appreciate y'all. Peace.
Salute.
All right, man. We'll catch up with you later.
For sure.
All right, Brody, man. Close us out tonight, man. What you got?
So we touched on a lot. The Black community, from everything from systemic oppression, crime within our own community, the perception of crime in other communities, and how we're perceived in a global standpoint. And more importantly, man, we're talking about what is it going to take to get this thing right as we go forward. And so as he was mentioning, how you vote, getting in the streets, man, and really getting people involved. Midterms, as we've always said, is where the bread and butter is, because that's where the local judges, that's where your mayors, that's where everybody that is the sheriffs, the people that you feel are really the root cause of your driving woes, or every time you leave off your block, you feel like you're getting hurt, whatever that looks like. And so it starts by finding a way to get people in place, regardless of what that may look like, that are truly for the people, that have a people's heart and a mindset. I also want to commend, man, just on the strength that being a husband in that industry that T-Dubb is in, and continuously mentioning the wife, the family, like the kids was in the background today, and in the industry that normally has the undertone that married men cannot be successful, he's speaking against that narrative, because we constantly hear him say, my wife. He's giving the wives the big ups. We learned how valuable she is to the education world. So finding ways, man, to better who we are, to connect with the younger crowd, to inspire, love to inspire, and inspire to love. You know what I'm saying? So the last thing I'm gonna say, bro, is we have to find a way, and the thing that we didn't talk about, why we got to spin it back. The main reason is not just the man being removed from the house, is the element of God that has been removed from our lives, and I call it the God effect. And the God effect is the shift of the focus of a now self that impacts your future place. You know what I'm saying? That's the God effect. Again, the focus being shifted from your now place to your future place. Whether you believe that there's a God above, whether you believe there's groups and people that believe that they're God, I am God, whatever that is, you have given a place to whoever you deem God to be in your life, and you've placed some type of value on those moral aspects that you believe that version of God should have. We've gotten away from that because we now feel that there isn't this, there isn't that. What if, and it's been devalued. That too is a problem. So, bro, I'm going to sign off and going to step down, because we can keep running this thing forever and a day. It's been real. Way to come back for season 6 in a major way. Great host kick off. Great guest kick off. All
right. A couple of things before we get up out of here, as they would say, some housekeeping rules. But check it out. Know that we are only broadcasting every other Wednesday night now. So next Wednesday, those people, if you're watching this next Wednesday, hey, we rerunning it. Gives us more time to promote, more time to get information to you guys as well. Lastly, my soapbox for tonight is, as we talk about what happened to the Black community, man, we have to look at how we compromise ourselves on a daily basis. Whatever compromise looks like to you, continue to hold your head up. Continue to teach your kids. Continue to lift up your husband, your wife. Continue to lift up your community. If you walk outside and there's a beer bottle outside of your door, you ain't got to kick it down the street. Pick it up. Do your part. You know what I'm saying? Community starts with me. You know what I'm saying? As I said, common unity between you and I. Because if I'm handling mine and you handling yours, that means that we should be able to handle some business together. And fortunately for us, last Friday night was the perfect example of that.
Yeah.
Hey, but we're going to keep it pushing. Facts. You know why? Because life is going to keep on lifing, y'all. And we're going to be here to talk about it. I'm your host, Tony D.
And I'm your host, D to the J. Still in the building like I ain't never left, and it's still a G thing. Shout out to heaven.